Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So we got some pretty sad news for anybody who still may play the Speed Duel game over in the TCG. We have gotten official confirmation that with the release of Speed Duel Battle City Finals, the initial Speed Duel saga will be concluding. As always, Speed Duel cards are legal for TCG play, and there will be continued OP support for Speed Duel so that duelists can continue to play the format. And there are going to be some new content as well, but the Speed Duel releases are starting to retread a lot of familiar ground, so the product line will be pausing for a rest. What does this basically mean? Well, a lot of people involved in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, including myself, feels like this is pretty much the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel in the TCG. So this was a product that started back in 2018. It lasted 6 years. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm surprised it even lasted this long. And that's not a knock on the Speed Duel game at all. I'm sure there are some people out there that really do enjoy playing Speed Duels in the TCG. But that being said, I had heard from a very good source, somebody that I know that is very close with a shop owner, a Konami certified shop owner, who told me a couple of years ago that Speed Duels were very close to being done. Now, this was around the time of Rush Duel. You know, my time perception may be off. This may have even been closer to like 2020, right before the pandemic started. So I am honestly surprised Speed Duel did end up lasting 6 years with a continuous new product, but it does seem like it is officially coming to an end. And as you can guess by the title, that has led quite a few people to wonder if this opens the door for Rush Duels to come to the TCG and for the Rush Duel game to finally be imported. Something that before COVID happened, I made this video on. I felt like it was a definite that we were going to get Rush Duels, especially because we have gotten the animes dubbed. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's has its dub already completed. We know that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush dub is on its way. So it's not like the anime has not followed a suit outside of the OCG countries into the TCG countries. That has indeed happened, and the main reason for the anime, of course, is to promote the game. And so it's weird if you watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's English dub, it is for a card game that is not accessible. Now, of course, with Duel Links, you can play it in there, but if you don't play Duel Links, there's no actual way to play. So what do I believe? Well, before I get to my thoughts on the possibility of Rush Duels, I do want to say that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that are not involved with, like, the main game have certainly struggled in the last couple of years. I guess we're going to call them, like, alternate formats to the OCG and to the TCG. And I look at, I don't want to use the word failures because that feels very, very harsh, and I don't mean it to be very harsh. But I look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel, which was obviously a game that was released about 2 years ago, maybe. It was a fun game with anime integration. I say it was a fun game. I actually never even got a chance to play it because you blinked and you missed it. This game was dead in about a year, and it was unbelievable how just badly this game did not succeed to the point where they just shut down servers for it. I don't even know if it lasted a year. If it did, it was maybe like 13 months. But Cross Duel was definitely one of the bigger blemishes on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Portfolio in a very long time. Accessibility was a big issue. I don't think the marketing was necessarily that great. And of course, it was just a totally different way to play the game. And not a lot of people that play the main Yu-Gi-Oh! Game were really interested in playing Cross Duel and never got the chance to experience it. And now you have another alternate format in the Speed Duel here for TCG that only lasted 6 years, which is not a terribly short amount of time. I mean, 6 years is still 6 years, and it did last through a global pandemic, one the likes we have not seen in a very long time. So, you know, you can give it a little bit of flowers for that. But these are now two alternate formats for Yu-Gi-Oh! That have totally, you know, not lasted as long as Konami, I'm sure, would have liked. I don't want to say totally failed because it just seems harsh, although you probably could use that word and it would be fine. So, you know, we're now in a position where the Speed Duel releases are done, and does that mean we are finally going to get Rush Duels imported outside of the OCG and into the TCG? I'll start by saying I really hope so. Rush Duels were something that I thought we were definitely going to get when they were first announced back at Jump Festa 2019. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. And I truly do believe the pandemic slowed down and maybe even totally halted any plans Konami had for worldwide distribution of Rush Duels. Fast forward now to the year 2024. Speed Duel is coming to its conclusion, and there is an opening in the release slot for Rush Duels. So here's the thing. Rush Duels have actually done fairly well over in Japan. If you see here, this is the 15 best-selling trading card games in Japan from April 2023 to the end of March 2024. And if you look at number 10, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel is a top 10 card game in Japan, which is incredibly impressive when you consider that Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel is still in its infancy, right? It hasn't even been 5 years since Rush Duels came out over in Japan. So the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel game is doing well in Japan. In fact, all of the games ahead of it, you know, Pokemon, the OCG, One Piece, Magic the Gathering, I've heard of all of them actually except Union Arena. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel also has an over 100% growth compared to last year, which is good. It shows that more people played this past year than they did last year. You always want to see that number above 100% because it shows growth there. So that is a good sign for Rush Duel, and maybe that's an encouraging sign for Konami to take a shot releasing it worldwide. Obviously, if you release it into the TCG, there's two possibilities, right? It just doesn't sell well, and it's not going to last very long. Kind of what we've seen with Cross Duel, and kind of what we've seen now with Speed Duel. Or it's going to end up doing really, really well, and there is going to be a lot of potential for longevity. So you can look at it from both sides of the equation, right? It's going to cost a lot to distribute it into the TCG territories, but it also could yield greater profits. You know, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens. I think that there is certainly a better chance now than ever before with Speed Duels officially going away for us to get Rush Duels worldwide. I think releasing it into Duel Links was a little bit of a test. They kind of wanted to see how the game would perform in Duel Links, if it would generate a lot of interest, and I don't have any of that data in front of me. I have no idea the portion of players who play Rush Duel in Duel Links and, you know, how much money they've spent or how interested they would be in playing in real life in the TCG. You also have people that just collect cards, which can also be pretty profitable for them. So, you know, we'll see. I think Rush Duel and TCG would be great. It's got an anime that's backing it, which I think is pretty important. Like, I think sometimes we overlook how important the anime is. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains and Dark Side of Dimensions and the Transcend game manga, I think were very important in promoting Duel Links in the early days. Maybe people will disagree with me on that, but mentioning it in the Transcend game manga, having the movie, which integrated some cross-promotion into Duel Links early on, and then having the Speed Duel format shown off in the Vrains anime, I think was very important in getting Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links up and running and being such a successful endeavor. Master Duel, obviously, you don't need an anime there. They've just leaned into the card lore archetypes. And, of course, the main game itself. We finally got a Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator. I think Rush Duel has all the potential in the world to be successful in the TCG. And at this point, it's just a matter of waiting. But wanted to just share my thoughts on that. Wanted to, of course, give you guys an update as well, because I think this is the highest likelihood we've had since COVID, honestly, which, of course, started in early 2020, of Rush Duels actually coming to the TCG. Would love to know your thoughts on that. Would love to know any predictions you may have for this topic and your thoughts on Speed Duels. Did you play him? Did you like him? Are you sad to see him go? Or is it pretty irrelevant to you? Would love to know all your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.